Jumbo, fellow adventurers, Mike Dooley, and it's time for a spiritual tune-up where I answer your questions. Post them daily on Facebook or Instagram. They could be my talking point real soon. Yeah, if you didn't see the headline yet, I'm going to go to this hot potato, hot button item to get vaccinated or not. I wasn't going to go there until somebody asked, and somebody did finally ask. And hey, we shouldn't be afraid to speak our minds or share our truths when approached, and all sides have validity. So I don't want you to prejudge. Let me finish my little explanation before you decide to throw potatoes at me. And I might say that I hope to surprise both sides of this equation, to vax or not to vax, given the coronavirus, the pandemic, social distancing, and the upheaval that it and the fear of it have created worldwide. There are two camps, pretty distinctly, and both state that the other camp is being driven by fear. There's the camp that says, can't you trust your amazing, miraculous physical body to be Teflon to such things as a virus? Do you feel vulnerable to nature that you have to go and get some man-made vaccine injected into your system? And the other side is actually afraid of big government, conspiracy theories, Bill Gates being tracked, being labeled. Basically, one group is afraid of the virus. The other group is afraid of being manipulated by people. And both have truth in the history of humanity. So both definitely warrant some respect. Let me approach first the fear of the virus and whether or not, or the fear of the vaccine. The fear of the vaccine and whether or not it's worthy of being afraid of. I speak and teach in a metaphysical environment, and anybody who is fluent in spiritualese will find this passage I'm about to read from you, one of my favorite books, Vision by Ken Carey, is pretty much standard fare for understanding the body's resistance or vulnerability to viruses and germs. Disease is not caused by germs, toxins, viruses, excessive radioactivity, microbes, bacteria, or by any other physical agent. Such things are ever present. Thousands of them pass daily through every healthy human body. Such agents are only destructive when they do not pass through the human body, but are retained instead. And that begs the question, what would prevent these viruses, germs, radioactivity, etc., from passing through a healthy human body? And the answer is a belief in your vulnerability or confusion pertaining to certain worldviews, personal views, life is, God is, fill in your opinion there. Any views that contradict truth, and truth is absolute, it does exist, it's the same for everyone. There's only God, we're all powerful, life is beautiful, etc. When we have an opinion in contradiction to truth, like there's not enough time in the day. Wait a minute, time's an illusion and we're eternal beings. There's enough time in the day. When we have conflicts like that, we bog down and we become vulnerable and susceptible to germs and viruses and the like. So, while the body is supernatural and greater than any virus could ever hope to penetrate, we have unknown levels of vulnerability based on our invisible limiting beliefs. And so what is the approach to life of most of us who are practiced in spiritualese, who see the beauty, the magnificence, and know of the order and perfection, yet you don't know exactly what your confusion and invisible limiting beliefs are, and you keep arguing with your partner about the same stupid thing, and you go in these circles. So yeah, you're there, you're awakened, but you're not enlightened, and you keep stubbing your toe. When this is the case, which is pretty much how it is for almost everybody in the world today, you simply play both ends to the middle. All right? You go to your conventional doctor, even though that speaks of a vulnerability that doesn't really exist, and you generally try to be a good patient. I want you all to do that. But you also do some creative visualization. You also work with affirmations. You also keep steeped in metaphysical truths and books that talk about the miracle and the beauty and the power innate in all of us. You might do some inner research, inner reflecting. You might do some journaling to untie the knots of confusion that keep you stubbing your toe and falling down. So play both ends to the middle. A perfect example, because your life is dictated by your thoughts and beliefs alone, you are not vulnerable to random accidents, right? But yet you get in your car and generally you wear your seatbelt, right? Now wait a minute. Wearing a seatbelt is a physical demonstration that says I could be a statistic. Anything could happen. Bad things happen to good people. I want to just take all precautions. Even though it is a negative declaration of your vulnerability, it is still a great idea to wear your seatbelt. This way you cover every base and you're not going to be susceptible to some invisible limiting belief that people are jerks and they drive like morons and I could be a statistic. Hey, that's going to end you up in a car accident. Maybe if those are your invisible limiting beliefs and you don't know it, you could be setting yourself up for a car accident. And the way to prevent that, as negative as it is to somebody enlightened, is to wear your safety belt when you're driving a car. The same thing for health insurance in a country, well, there's not many anymore, in a country where it is optional and variable, and some people have health insurance and some people don't, and so they're totally not covered. Look, while viruses cannot infect a perfectly healthy body whose beliefs are in total alignment with truth, what if one of your beliefs is a little bit out of alignment with truth? What if you've got a lot of anger and resentment and guilt going on? You could be landing yourself some major heavy-duty ailments that could cost millions of dollars to undo. So get some health insurance, even though that is a physical demonstration that you are weak, that you are not living in truth, that you are vulnerable, and that cancer or AIDS or some other thing could just blindside you and take you down. Get the health insurance anyway. If you live in a country, not many left, where it's not mandated or covered automatically for you, which has been historically the case in the United States. Wear your seatbelt, buy health insurance, but also immerse yourself in truth all the time. Play both ends to the middle, using logic, using brains, using intellect, and using your intuitive heart. So now let's talk about the fear of government. The fear of Bill Gates tracking your DNA to manipulate you into giving him more money. Why would Bill Gates do that? I mean, the guy's already one of the richest human beings on earth, right? But there's this thought out there and many conspiracy theories. There's a place for conspiracy theories, don't get me wrong, but there's also a place for scrutiny and holding them up to the light of truth and reasonableness and logic and intuition. So the idea that there's these conspiracy theories or an evil government, again, let me share what all in spiritual circles base their life's view on. That we are all of God, by God, pure God. That every single human being is doing their level best to be a good human being. As my mom would say, sometimes it's a pretty poor best. And sometimes people fall down in a pretty big way. They're really confused. They're really terrified. And you get an Adolf Hitler or some other atrocious human being who has done hideous, despicable things. But overall, by and large, we can see it in the cooperation amongst nations. We can see it in the cooperation amongst traffic. We can see it in the cooperation amongst industry and consumers and retailers and everything. People cooperate. People want to do well. People want to take the high road. Everybody wants to take the high road. And it's just the extremely confused that take the high road through violent means. But they are such a rarity. But they do exist. So if we begin our talk about trusting government with the premise that people generally mean well. And we recognize that this conversation right now is happening in the Western world. It's not happening in Venezuela. What an amazing nation filled with amazing people. This is not against Venezuela. It's perhaps against the leadership and the decades of ruin that they've brought to that great, amazing country. But this conversation now is happening in the Western world, where we do have, by and large, free governments, where we do have, by and large, transparency, where we do have integrity, where we do not have politicians deciding who gets what, when, and where, for the most part. In fact, there's no country on earth, to my knowledge, that is mandated by law its citizens get a vaccine. Certainly not the United States, although different political parties are threatening that other parties are going to march you there and make you get a vaccine or else. This is hocus pocus baloney. There is no nation I'm aware of, certainly not in the Western world, that is mandating by law that every citizen get an injection. Just does not exist, has not happened. Okay, so who makes these decisions that run the countries of the free world? When it comes to medicine, it is the doctors. People with long, storied medical school tenure and who have risen to the top of their field, scientific as it is, absent a lot of heart and deeper spiritual meaning, still extremely effective at creating solutions and remedies and suggestions and advice. At least they ask us to be healthy, eat well, and exercise, right? So it's these people with proven track records from the finest schools and best educations and illuminous track records in the medical career that followed schooling that are advising us statistically of their knowledge and a wealth of scientific information. Scientific information can be fallible, but generally to the degree that it comes to making vaccines, it's pretty bulletproof. They're the ones making these decisions and telling us what to do. Yet to believe that there are corporations that are so greedy that they're collaborating with government leaders. Look, neither corporate leaders nor political leaders, in the United States at least, are any good at keeping a secret. They're absolute idiots when it comes to keeping a secret. They cannot hide their extramarital affairs. They cannot hide their drug use. They cannot hide their alcoholism. They cannot hide the disaster they have otherwise made of their life. Do you think that they could carry on and get independent corporations that have different boards of directors and different shareholders and collude with the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers to continue? They already control so much of the world financially. Do you think they're trying to get a few more billion, trillion dollars? Does that make any sense? Do you think they could keep that secret? It's so totally irrational and insane almost to think, I didn't mean to get this strong, but to think that these big entities are out there asking you to take injections that are completely untested so that they can modify your DNA and do what? I don't know what you could possibly think that they're doing. It's fantasy island. It is really not anchored in any kind of logical or passionate or heartfelt evidence that there could be conspiracies of such a sweeping nature that every country on the earth has seen the horrific, dire consequences of COVID-19. Look at India today. I mean, this is not a fake conspiracy. This is not the flu. Is it survivable? Extremely. Is it way worse than the flu? Absolutely. So what science has shown, not governments, what science has shown is that chances of you getting a vaccine of any kind, is certainly in the Western world, and becoming damaged is infinitesimal compared to the damage COVID has been wreaking on otherwise, in many cases, healthy human beings. And when you look at people who are at risk, it's even more devastating. Yes, a vaccine could kill you. It could be total poison. You might argue, as many conspiracy theorists do, that they didn't do the proper clinical tests. Already 1 billion people have been vaccinated. 1 billion. 150 million in the United States. And all the science shows from the most esteemed academic circles and practicing physicians that it is tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of times safer to get a vaccine and take your risks there than to bring on COVID and take your chances there. So just look at the science, follow your heart, play both ends to the middle. I'm not telling you to get the vaccine. Do whatever you want to do. It's all good. We're playing out this adventure in the heart of God right now, in the palm of God's hand. You're a gladiator of ancient, magnificent proportions. You're here to thrive. You are invulnerable if you believe you're invulnerable. But I would urge you to consider all that I've shared. And don't just use my advice. Go to CNN, go to Fox, go to wherever you want to go. But try not to be so afraid. And look how you can mitigate that fear, perhaps by playing both ends to the middle, and thereby, perhaps, if you will, cooperating in a world where we're all trying to do our best and we all want to go back into the sunshine and live as normally and socially as possible. Woo! All right, fellow life adventurers, thanks so much for your time. Thanks for your great questions. Post them down below. I did not mean to offend or hurt anybody. If you don't like what I just said, I love you. And go ahead and post what you think down below. What are your perspectives? If they totally diverge with mine, I love you. It's okay. Let's talk. Let's share. We're in this together, and we're going to prevail together. And that's all for now. Adios. Thank you, Marissa, Denise, everybody on Facebook, Eva. VAX means vaccine, vaccination, VAX. All right. Kat, glad you're here. Moonstone, Iron Goddess of Mercy. Oh boy, I might need that today. All of you, I'm so honored that you're here. I got to go wipe down this sweat. Tally ho.